we definitely had some people that, knew what they were doing, and they were able to help out and teach as well with that, with, a group of 50 some women. It's nice to have more hands on deck. And then there was some who they never set a tip up. They didn't know how to do it. So we walked through that and ended up catching some pike on some tip ups. And
welcome to the Woman Angler and Adventurer podcast, inspiring real women with a passion for fishing and the outdoors to go get their adventure on. Now, here's your fearless host, Angie Scott.
Hey, welcome to the third episode in the Breaking the Ice series, all about amazing women in ice fishing. As promised last week, my special guest this week is Alicia Thompson. Alicia is the founder of the Ladies Midwest Meetup events, and since recording this interview, there's been a few updates, so be sure and stay tuned to the end, and I'll fill you in. All right, enjoy our conversation. So if you could talk just a little bit, because it was totally an organic thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It was. So I grew up fishing solely with men. My dad, my uncles, I just grew up little tomboy, honestly, and always around guys. And even, growing up and getting into the sport a little bit more, same thing. It's always been the dudes around, which has been, just fine. I've enjoyed learning from whoever. It's been great. But I was sitting in my house one day just thinking, social media is a great tool. All these women, look at all these women doing all these cool things. Look at them fishing. And what if I just put it out there and ask people, hey, does anybody want to get together and ice fish?
Mm-hmm.
Cause I absolutely love ice fishing, and I just thought I'd, reach out and see who was interested. Completely random thought, put myself out there, did not know what to expect at all. And yeah, I had people message me, and I was like, oh, great. Well, I might as well, let's try putting something together. And it just happened. There was 23 of us, I believe, up in Chautauqua, Wisconsin. And it's where we were was a small area. So word got out around town that there's 20 some women coming to this small little northern Wisconsin town. So, and everybody that left, they're just like, can you do this again next year? This was great. This was so great. So that's basically, it was just a thought that turned into something that I didn't think it would, honestly.
That's so awesome. And was it all kind of on Instagram how the word got out about it, or?
Yeah, Instagram. Yep. Instagram was the main, media. Yep.
Yeah. That's so cool. So most of the people that came out were probably people that follow each other kind of, right? And just had that connection that way.
Yeah, the first year was definitely, everybody was like, oh, I follow you. Oh, I follow you. Yeah. So it was definitely that way the first year. Second year, it expanded quite a bit more. So
yeah, it more than doubled in size the second year, it looks like, looking at the numbers.
Yeah, it was, if you count everybody, including the photographer lady that I had there would have been 54 people. 54 ladies. So It was quite the time on the ice.
Yeah, and then in between then you I don't know if you've been to other ladies events, ladies outdoor fishing or hunting or whatever kind of events before, but I know that you attended the one that Christine Fisher did, the kayak fishing event in Missouri, right?
Yep.
And I just had Kate Field on the podcast, so we were talking about that just recently.
Oh, did you? I love her.
Yeah, she was. You need to listen to the episode.
Okay.
But yeah, she just happened to be going through Nashville, and I was like, you need to come over here and be on the podcast, because I've been wanting her to come on. She just finished her
250.
Yep. So it was cool. It was a great conversation, but that sounded like a really cool event as well. The one in Missouri. Yeah,
it was awesome. It was great because I did the first year of LMM Ice, and then I went and did that. And when I had to introduce myself, I said I'm kind of on the reverse role here, because of the last group of women that I was around like this. I said I was the one that kind of did the organizing stuff. So it was cool to see it from that perspective.
Yeah.
And yeah, just to meet women from I'm from the Midwest, so to meet women from, southern states and kind of around that area was really cool too.
But you even had people travel at least for that second event. It looked like you had some women that traveled quite a ways just to be there, right?
Yeah. Yep. The first year, the furthest was Missouri, and I attended the kayak event with Christine Fisher and those ladies actually with her. So we kind of grew, and she came again to the second year. But aside from Missouri, there was Iowa, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Ohio. So all Midwest states. Yeah.
Cool. And all levels, all experience levels.
Yep. We definitely had some people that, knew what they were doing, and they were able to help out and teach as well with that, with, a group of 50 some women. It's nice to have more hands on deck. And then there were some who they never set a tip up. They didn't know how to do it. So we walked through that, and they ended up catching some pike on some tip ups, and never did any jigging before. So there was a lot of really big crappies that were caught, ton of bluegills, and this last year was just amazing.
And that was in Hayward, right?
Yeah, this one was in Hayward. It was on, I'm not sure if you're familiar, but it was on Little Round, and it's connected right with just, Big Round Lake. Okay. And Little Round is little, so you can pretty much see the entire lake, and we took it over. I mean, you can ask anybody that came, and we had a little city out there. I wish somebody would have had a drone so we could have seen.
I was just thinking that. I was like envisioning in my head like a drone shot of that.
Yeah. Would have been cool.
Maybe I can come next year. I'm working on my drone pilot's license, but I do have a little drone, but I want to be able to do it commercially, for legit, whatever. But so do you think that there's something, and you've been to these two different events, and I know that they're different in different ways, everybody bonds. But do you think there's something special about ice fishing in particular, getting together in that kind of setting with a bunch of women?
Yeah, I think not that going out on the boat or if you have a kayak is going to be more difficult, but when you're on the ice, you ice fish, right?
Yeah.
I mean, then it's just easier to be able to connect with people because you're literally in the same area typically. And whereas if you do a group, too big and you're all in different boats, it's kind of hard to have that connection and to be around everybody. So
you got to go out there. You're in the elements. You're right there on the ice. You're drilling holes. It's like, there's something more about it to me, especially when it comes to, just a group of women, because that is one of the more, when you think about ice fishing historically, I've seen some images of like, older images of women in the 50s out there ice fishing, in Minnesota or whatever. So of course women have always been participating in it, but it's usually thought of definitely more of a male dominated activity. Yeah. Because historically, like the augers are hard to work, and obviously technology has come a long ways, and they've made them lighter and easier for women and stuff like that. But to like scout your spots and drill your holes, and I could see how that could kind of bring people together a little bit more. Absolutely. Yeah. And just to add to that, I think accessibility. I mean, it's going to be a little bit easier to get out on the ice because, whether you have the tools or you have to borrow them from someone else, it's just obviously going to be easier, for women to get out and do that rather than, probably maybe don't have a kayak, probably don't have a boat necessarily, but you probably know somebody who has an auger and, all the stuff to ice fish. So right. I think just accessibility is a big piece too. What draws you to it personally? Ice fishing? Yeah. Going back to always being around my dad and my uncles, there's always been kind of a sense of, even though it was, family time, but kind of community. Even when when I was younger and we would do ice tournaments, just like the fun little ice tournaments. It was always about bringing people together and just enjoying nature, enjoying being out there. That's the biggest thing to me is community, which LMM really focuses on that, on, connecting women together. So
I have always loved ice fishing for that fact, because it's always about, bonding, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever imagine you'd be leading a group of women that big out ice fishing?
Never in a million years.
Do you think, I know nobody really knows what's happening right now, but are you planning as of now going ahead and doing one in 2021?
Yeah. Yes. I can give you some secrets, I suppose.
Okay. This probably won't come out till closer to then, so.
That's fine. So yes, we're going to, since LMM has grown quite a bit in just 2 years, I've been really fortunate to have businesses help sponsor and starting to sponsor more. So with that being said, I'm able to expand and actually do a whole nother event. So not just one, but two. Yeah. So looking forward to that. And one of them is going to be in Minnesota. So with that, I'm not going to say which business it is, but they are sponsoring in a big way, which is amazing, because it just, with their help, it's going to cost less for the women that attend, and just to expand the sport to more people that want to come try it.
Mm-hmm. Will the other event be like in Wisconsin likely, or?
Yep.
Yeah,
that other one will be, I don't know if it's going to be Hayward. I know people really enjoyed where we were last year, but it's also nice to support other businesses and other towns. So I'm not really sure, but it will be that style of an event. Yes.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. So I don't know if you know much of my background, but I'm from Minnesota. I lived there till I was 21, and then I moved to Nashville because I wanted to work in the music industry, and did that for a number of years. And then now I've gotten doing the podcast, and I got my captain's license, doing charters, stuff like that in Nashville. But through the podcast, I got to travel up north and do quite a bit of ice fishing here in the last couple years. Yeah. And, no expert by any means. I mean, I just enjoy being out there, and I enjoy talking to people who are more expert at it, and learning from them and stuff like that. But, my aunt and uncle owned a resort in Hayward, for a long time. So I've been, fortunate enough to have some fishing opportunities in that area. They were on Big Chautauqua, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like Red Cedar Springs Resort, if I remember correctly. Unfortunately, they had to sell it. My aunt got brain cancer, and she passed away, so it was just too much. Yeah, it was just too much.
I'm sorry
for
to hear
them.
that.
Yeah, so, but it was fun. I just remember every time I go there, all I could catch was bluegills. So,
yeah, they're fun, but after a while, you want to catch something.
You want some.
Too.
I mean, they fight hard, but not. Yeah, I want the big toothy fish are what I'm after. So I've yet to catch my first muskie. So I'm told I probably need to come back up there.
You have yet to catch your first muskie?
I have yet. I mean, and I haven't. Growing up in Minnesota, we always fish walleye, and we never targeted muskie. Every now and then, like one of my uncles would get one just on, just happenstance, like they weren't really going after it. And then I took a guide out here, East Tennessee, in Oak Ridge on Melton Hill, I guess is supposed to be a decent muskie fishery. He had just caught the state record like a few weeks before I went out with him. So we had really, really high hopes. But as you know, muskie fishing can be a challenge. And, we were out there all day and didn't have any luck. And Christine Fisher has promised to take me kayak fishing. There's somewhere not too far from here that she loves to catch muskie in the spring. And we kind of missed our opportunity this year because of the whole COVID thing, but
oh yeah. Ugh.
One day I'm going to get my first muskie.
Yes, it's a blast. Muskie fishing it consumes a lot of our time, I should say, my boyfriend and I, and yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
As soon as you catch one though, you are going to be hooked.
Oh, I know.
I'm sure Christine has told you that.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah, we've had her on the show before, and she's told some stories and like catching a muskie from a kayak nonetheless. Like it's a whole nother thing from a boat, I'm sure, but that's pretty awesome. So
yeah.
Well, cool. Anything else you'd want to share about the event, or, just about the experience? Angie,
I think the last thing I just want to say, because some ladies might, because I get messages all the time, like, well, what is LMM? Can you tell me more info? When people ask that, I always, I really want women to know that LMM, we're about, connecting women. You learn when you're at the event, and lastly, it's, when you're there, you're gaining knowledge, whether you are experienced or not, but it's about, building, relationships and hopefully, fishing, I'll say fishing friends, if that's a possibility. I know a lot of the ladies have walked away and have connected outside of, you have this confidence, you can go out and, try it on your own, teach somebody else. If you're a mother that comes and you have a child you want to teach, absolutely go for it. Like, LMM is all about teaching and passing the sport on. So I just want to end with that.
Awesome. That's perfect. Good deal. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Ladies Midwest Meetup now has an awesome website that you can find at ladiesmidwestmeetup.com. I'll put a link in the show notes, thewomanangler.com/163, as well as to the Instagram account so you can follow them, their adventures there as well. And I'll share Alicia's as well so you can get connected with her. They just opened registration for the January event as promised. It will be in Minnesota. The ladies are headed to Lake Mille Lacs, one of my old stomping grounds, January 14th through the 17th. That's coming up soon, so be sure and check that out right away. It's a get-together you're not going to want to miss. Unfortunately, I'll be missing it as I'm going to be down in Florida, soaking in the sun, but doing some fishing and also some filming on those particular dates. So something really exciting I can't announce just yet, but that's the reason why I unfortunately won't be able to make it. Otherwise, I totally would make plans to be up there with everybody. It's going to be a blast. I hope some of you will be able to join. I can't wait to hear all about it. Stay tuned for next week's episode, which is another Ladies Midwest Meetup themed conversation. But this time it's with one of the participants who has a really special story to share that you're going to love. So see you next week.